anyways, for now, let's actually get into some of the playoff action for the day. In the bottom left, our blue Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. As in the top right, our red Terran player is GuMiho. And we get into this best of 5 just like that. Alright. After all this waiting around, suddenly it's upon us. I feel a bit bad for GuMiho. He is very close to advancing out of his little season match in a better position than he did. And because he finished in 3rd place and Dark finished in 3rd place of his group, that's the issue. GuMiho essentially has the highest seed. But because Dark finished 3rd of his group, he has the lowest seed of all the playoff players in the playoffs. And that means that, well, unfortunately for GuMiho, he is going to have to meet him and see what he can do early on in today's matches, because this is definitely a struggle for GuMiho, right? This is not an easy matchup. There's times where sometimes he kind of pushes GuMiho to the limit a little bit, and pushes Dark to the limit a little bit, and GuMiho shows some promise in this matchup. But more often than not, this is a series that I think Dark absolutely dominates. And that's my concern. My concern really stands at, I think Dark might just come in here and he might just dominate. And this could be a bit of a one-sided best of 5 to start the day. So it's really kind of all eyes on GuMiho. What is he going to bring? What is he going to be able to provide? As SCV pulls back, is going to go drop a depot down over in the corner. And the hatch, the gas, the pool coming up. The drone's coming out as well. As our Reaper is about halfway done. Whoa. My stream just went off. That's a new one. Back. We back? I'm back. I don't see myself back, but you guys are saying I'm back. That's interesting. All right, we'll just stick with it, guys. We have had a few times lately the couple of issues where we've seen the oh my god. You know what it's gonna do? You know what it's done? Because my stream's just gone off and on, Twitch has just completely reset my ads. Oh, you're freaking kidding me. Alright guys, I can't stop this. There's gonna be 3 minutes of ads running. This is the reason I go live early, to run ads and to build us up some ad time. And because my stream's just gone off and on, it's just completely reset my ad counter. God damn it, I'm so sorry. I actually can't do anything about that. That's just, it's one of the dumbest things. Like, because my stream went off for 20 seconds or whatever, not even. Twitch sees it as my stream being off properly, and now my ad counter resets. Oh, that's so dumb. Alright, apologies guys, as we do have a few Reapers hopping in and just going to go after the hatchery. So hatchery is going to take a little bit of damage. This hatchery is actually taking a lot of damage. It's going to be cancelled, so pretty good stuff for GuMiho to grab a cancel on that. This is, again, only 2 racks. We are seeing 2 racks Reapers with, you know, more than 3 Reapers sometimes getting this hatch, but this was pretty quick to let that hatch go down. Dark is building on the left side instead, about to hit his link speed. Once he get that going, link speed, the 12 lings all coming out. The Reapers hop back down to the low ground. And thank you so much, Von Schleyer, for gifting out 5 subs to Rhynix, Nakota, Mezmakers, Wasted in Hyrule, and Shizo Runla. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on that, guys, because, like I said, the other day we were having this thing where sometimes my stream would go off and then reconnect and come back on, but usually it puts up, like, the panic sign, and then it kind of gets fine. I don't know what it's doing, so... I mean, I thought I changed something that actually fixed that, and it hadn't happened in a few days. It hasn't happened in about a week or so. So, yeah, I'm not really sure. Like I say, I'll do what I can. I'll keep an eye on it and look into more solutions if it isn't actually fixed, but... It's so weird because on my side it just looks like nothing's happened, right? It looks as though everything's just absolutely okay. It's so strange. Reapers coming out, we do see the Cyclones popping out, Starport on the way. And you have the Roach-Ron in the back of this natural from Dark. So he is going to play into those Roaches off a delayed 3rd base. That's going to be his initial starting point here, as the Roaches are about halfway done. You got some links coming up, a Queen or 2 on the way. But this does feel as though we're starting to step towards a very aggressive... stance of play from Dark, right? With those Roaches available, it really feels as though he's going to have himself an opportunity to get across the map and get some damage done. Now, he is still droning a little bit, a few drones added on here. As the extra gas finish up, let's see if he does want to make a bunch of Roaches or if he's just going to keep focused on some economy. He's got the Lings right now to get a surround. And he is going to surround both of those Cyclones, so both those Cyclones go down. A couple of Hellions at least get to the Watchtower. But yeah, the Reaper Cyclone gone. That's a good chunk of GuMiho's power just taken away from it already, stripped away just super quickly. That is a pretty positive deal as our queens will drop down some creep tumors and again a couple of medevacs, engineering bays, marines all continue to come up, SCVs as well. Well, GuMiho at least is able to get himself to a third base, so he puts himself onto that third CC pretty swiftly now. A bunch of extra barracks coming up. And the lair coming in from Dark as he will look to tech himself with the roaches. A couple of Hellions coming across, the lane goes down, Marines still joined together. And C-Code hitting us with the 21-month resub as well as we got ourselves the Overlord going to pop on up. And again, Combat Shield, a few more Marines coming now, the Evo Chambers on the way from Dark, so he will give himself access to those upgrades in the very near future as the Hellions come through to pick away at a few creep tumors already, so picking those off, taking those down. And we got the double drop here, going to be supported by the medevacs, by the Hellions on the low grounds. The medevacs get the double drop in. Don't think we'll bring the Hellions in because then you don't have full retreat potential, but I like the idea of the Hellions supporting there in case the Lings came across to stop the unload initially. Could have been kind of interesting. We do have the Queens moving forward and just pushing the medevacs back. So this is defended pretty well by Dark. He will not let GuMiho find too much damage there as additional roaches all coming through, the extra drones coming up. 1-1 missile upgrades and the roach speed continuing to build in. Have a few additional extractors also still coming into place. So as those extra extractors complete, our gas will power up on 6 gases in total, and we are pretty set to tech if we want to. And tech up a little bit in this game and to go from there. And I got that Glag Reconstitution finished up shortly. Like I say, with this Roach style, we'll see exactly what it is that Dark wants to do, how aggressive he will be. Currently, 65 drones does suggest he's going to keep just spamming Roaches of 3-base economy and then make a move with the 1-1. But he is also only just now getting to 4th base, so he hasn't really had a need for anything more than 66 drones until now. So it's not like a choice when he's on 4 bases to kind of not, saturate that 4th. Right now, he just doesn't have the 4th, so again, may just be a response to what happened earlier. And I mean, obviously, could still lead into him just deciding, right, well, in this case, I get aggressive, right? It could still be the approach we make on this one. So, some interesting choices ahead of us still. That 1-1 on the way up from GuMiho is about to be done. So he will have his own upgrades when it comes to this. That's important to deal with these roaches. Roaches with an upgrade lead usually do very, very well. So good to be ahead of that one as that Marines up forward. A couple of roaches already going down. The first Morphing Ravager going to get targeted down as well. The Marines will load back into medevacs. And yeah, medevacs, tanks, and Marines all still pouring out on the side of GuMiho. So GuMiho bringing a lot of that up there. A few roaches running across toward the watchtower. A lot more Roach Ravager still building here from Dark, so bringing those numbers up. I mean, he droned a little bit, but he's on 69. It's not exactly like he's on a huge economy. So you would expect at some point as this Roach Respine base is going to get a little bit of damage on it. You would expect at some point the Dark is going to turn into a more, well, I mean, I guess he is going to attack, and then if he wants to drone, he can drone up beyond this attack once he frees up a little bit of supply. He gets a siege tank here, but honestly, the bio count is good enough. I don't think you're going to overwhelm. Roach Ravager is set up to overwhelm, but GuMiho is not in an overwhelmed kind of setup at all because he's just been good at trading thus far. This attack is not the fastest it could have possibly been. As Dark tries to fight, I mean, he loses his 4th base, so he's extremely committed to this attack now. And you can see he's getting chased off by little clumps of bio units. Never mind the Sim City and the tank defense on the 3rd that GuMiho can fall back to. GuMiho is having a field day as he finds 1 queen, 2 queens, 3 queens, maybe. Now he's actually just going to give these units up. The medevacs will go down. That last queen will not go down, so it was just the 2 queens up until the end there. Medevacs still boosting across the map. Some more drops. GuMiho recognizing that these drops have been doing very well for him, and they can continue to probably do very well with further drop plays. He moves himself down to the bottom side of the map. That group of medevacs aiming for the main base in the next few moments. We do, meanwhile, have 2 upgrades coming up, plus 1 vehicle weapons on the way. Missile turret and Ghost Academy still building on the side. of GuMiho. Come on, Medivacs into the main base. As the Roach Ravager continues through, a couple Marines getting pushed back. A few drones already going down over here as well. Our Bio going to grab the Overlord, and now these Zerglings, as they pop, are not going to have too hot a time. Actually, they do get away. The lair is going to fall, though. Like I say, the drop play is something Dark is not well set up against. He's going to lose +2 missiles as well. GuMiho is all over Dark in this game number 1. And Dark is going to try and knock down some rocks here to open up access to the bottom portion of the map, perhaps, but I mean, obviously that makes sense because that's where GuMiho's 4th base is, so he wants to try and get towards that base and not just let it come up freely. His own 4th is denied again with the main base missing. Dark is really on the verge of just being completely bulldozed out of this game. He doesn't really have many more chances to kind of make things right. He cleans up a couple units again. The 2 different sets of drops are just so frustrating because GuMiho is able to strike in both locations so repetitively. And that's the problem. You're not really ever controlling one side nor the other. And now GuMiho's feeling good enough to bring his army onto the map. Biotank begins to move forward, heading down toward the center, toward the bottom left side. You're going to see that Biotank force looking for a big push onto Zerg territory. GuMiho has had enough of waiting for Dark to make the plays. He's going to come and make the plays himself beyond just dropping. So straight through we go. And Bioforce coming across. The tank's going to continue to siege up just a little bit. The rest of our Roach Ravager will come back over here and just going to find themselves, well, a siege tank or 2 actually getting lifted back up, so that will pull away. The rest of the Bio coming through. Queen gets picked off as well. And we do have these Ravagers just continue to take damage. Dark Supply is not looking good. We've not even had to siege the tanks up yet. It's got to be a little bit of a statement when you can do so well without even needing the tanks. GuMiho is going to pick up game 1 of this series. And GuMiho opens, yeah, with a fight in a fighting manner. On the bottom right side of Golden Aura, as we have the red Zerg player. This is Dragon Kaiser Gaming's Dark. Taking on the blue Terran in the top left side of the map, we have ourselves a GuMiho. So, getting started up, getting ready to rumble. Let's see whether GuMiho or Dark will be the first to strike in a game 2. I do think this map, like I say, kind of prefers a little bit of Zerg. This was the Zerg map pick in this series, so keep that in mind as well. For sure. Definitely should be a bit of a factor as well. Couple barracks on the way out, and just having ourselves the hatch, the gas, the pool, all coming up. Drone comes out down to the bottom side, gonna set itself up on the 3rd base location. No surprises on the early build. We are gonna go the 2 racks again. Obviously, last game started with GuMiho knocking that 3rd base of Dark down early, and it feels like Dark never really recovered from that. You know, that felt like something that was kind of a drag on him for the rest of the game. He always was struggling to kind of get bases up and operational, so that was definitely I think a fairly big impact, honestly. We have a couple of Reapers coming up, and just seeing the Reaper on its way over. Making its way down to the bottom right side. And it's going to run into the first couple lings. Of course, an extra Reaper coming up. It's going to be 3 Reapers in total then, so not going to go to the 4 like we saw last time. Seems like 3 is the magic number this time around. Not a bad thing. As a couple of Reapers continue to just hit, proc, prod, doing a little bit of damage. As our Reapers will continue to nab away. A couple of moments at least on this position, so just going to go put some damage on that for a little while. You see how Zergling is going to start actually moving across the map. So if you avoid the Reapers here, these Lings can force the Reapers to come back home. And especially in a game where Dark is not playing Ling speed because he's playing Gasless, getting the Reapers to turn back home is really nice because he doesn't really have a way to fight those Reapers for quite a while. Usually you would rely on Ling speed. In this case, I mean, that's not just going to pull the Reapers back. That's a straight up cancel on a reactor. GuMiho at least making the good, educated decision to say, right, I'm going to lose that no matter what. Let's cancel it before it finishes instead of hoping I'll somehow save it. At least I'll get some money back and then just let it be killed. But obviously that's still pretty painful. Reactor, now the tech lab as well, so the add-ons on this barracks are going to get punished. And that is obviously one of the weaknesses of spawning top left and your add-ons being pushed outwards. That's one of the issues with doing these builds and walls at the front. They are not then going to be completely safe, so worth noting for sure, as we just have a single Reaper providing high ground vision for everything else to keep on moving around. The Reaper's pulling back, a couple Queens still coming through, Roach coming up, 13 drones are in production as well. A fair few drones that are continuing out right now, the Roach still coming through, and just having ourselves the setup for Dark kind of being put into place then. We kind of now know, okay, Dark is going to be playing a little bit of Roach style once more. He's probably going to be a little bit slower to get set up initially and everything, so these are things he'll, what we get to see at least. And Slings and Queens sit on the side of that main base. And the Reapers is going to drop down a couple of grenades onto some Queens as well, so a little bit more damage out over there for the moment. One on upgrades, stim pack, and the starport, a few marines, refineries, all still being brought up here. The Queens are there to push the Reapers around a little bit more. Lings continuing to sit up on the high ground, and again the lair coming through, the couple of drones coming by. Everything just getting settled for a few moments as the hatchery goes down onto the 6 o'clock position. Grenades trying to catch the creep chamber, but they just don't do that much damage anymore, so these Reapers are not going to find too much success, all things considered. And a couple more Widow Mines are popping out. Medevac is still in production. And we have ourselves the Evo chambers, the hatchery, and some extra little bits and pieces still just on the way through. For the moment, as a couple Lings just head back down the bottom. Here come the Reapers coming across, trying to see what they can do. And every time they hop up, I mean, Dark's still in position. Obviously, still no Ling speed, which means that Dark doesn't have the ability to shut the Reapers down from being on the map. That obviously means that he was a little bit more economically focused early, and that's going to help him to have boosted up to the 65 drone marker that we're already seeing us at. So, being that a good drone count obviously has its benefits as well. The infestation pit still coming through, the 1-1 missile upgrades, the Ling speed, the Roach speed, all of that producing on in for the moment. Medevac is going to come boosting forwards, 4 Widow Mines into the main base mineral line. Straight through we go, unloading a couple, and a Spore Crawler getting set up there as well as, just going to be an annoyance if nothing else. Got to take a few moments to pay attention to this. Got a lava as well as he splashed onto the Lings. Well, lava obviously is, an impactful thing. That's what you use to produce your units, as you blow up that Widow Mine without too much excitement. And a few Marines actually going to venture onto the edge of creep spread at least, but again, we have the Roaches to fight this, but this is what the rest of the harassment is about, trying to give these Marines at least an opening opportunity. Ling speed finishes, not enough Lings to truly chase. The Roaches obviously shouldn't be able to chase in this scenario either. And again, the 1-1 missiles, the Roach speed all coming up. 2-2 upgrades on the side of GuMiho. Combat Shield is not too far from finishing. Extra barracks coming in. Reactor in the tech lab still building up. And our Queen's going to get behind the natural expansion now as well. It's just going to pull themselves back over there for a few moments. Festas, Ravagers, and the Hive continue to come up, and the Bio4 still sat at the front. Medevac's healing up a little bit as well. Roaches coming through. Reapers are going to go fight and just have our Roaches pushing back. The Reapers coming back across. Bio unloading, just going to go after these couple of Queens, so we will be able to go for those. And Fasta drops a fungal growth down. Queens will continue to shoot. Take off a Medevac. It goes down. Ling's still surrounding here. It's going to be a complete shutdown. GuMiho's attack in this main base gets denied. Obviously, the fungal just helping a lot. It's one of the things that Doc always adds so early in his game when he's playing roaches. Those few infestors, and if you can just slowly grab some fungals throughout the course of a game, there is so much benefit you can get out of that. The 2-2 is just over halfway done. Adrenal glands, +2 carapace, and +1 melee coming up as well. The Baneling Nest is already about halfway done too. As our roaches and ravagers going to start picking their way through this set of rocks here. So rocks will start to take damage. Corrosive vials knocking through that as our marines will load back into the medevacs. I'm just going to pull back away over to the right side. So away to the edge as we go. A few more Vipers on the way out. Extra Zerglings as well. The Baneling Nest is about to be finished. We've got Roach Ravager coming through as that bio army does have to go running. Off away to the edge. A lot of Lings going to patrol around in the main base, so a lot of movement on those. Ultra Cavern starting up, our couple of hatcheries building. And again, Banelings coming out. LA and +2 carapace coming through, the adrenal glands coming up. Our bio force will begin to go onto this hatch. Knock this down. And Corrosive Vials completely missed there. GuMiho's push. Gonna find a lot of Banelings before they're finished morphing. The Infestor goes down there too. There's no splash damage against this army. That's gonna give GuMiho a good push through right now. Starts to pull back a little extra. The Ling's still running through. The Vipers will show up. What do they want to do? Parasitic Bomb on each medevac that they can find. Good splits from GuMiho. Gonna minimize the effect of that though. Well, GuMiho's push is still here, and it's still pressing forward, currently with an upgrade advantage as well. Just, again, we were really missing splash damage from that first wave. Now the Banelings still without Baneling speed are going to have a rough time, especially if these tanks continue to get some shots off and to pick off some of these Banelings. Obviously, without Bane speed, they stay clumped up, they stay kind of far away from the tanks, so they're just perfect targets. Ultra's on the way, which might help to break through this. I mean, it's not like Doc's supply is bad. So a little bit of a improvement in terms of what he's working with to break out of this may just be all he needs. And here we go, the Banes start moving forward, and we go with everything dark, parasitic bombing, blinding cloud, abducting every ability off of those Vipers. GuMiho has a little bit of bio that stands its ground, but it can't really stick around forever. It will have to pull away, and Dark is going to rotate back through the bottom side of the map. There's like a couple of Ultras coming through, Ling's coming up, +2 melee is on the way out. And again, we've got that Drilling Claws, 3-3 upgrades. Those are still coming up here on the side of GuMiho. Drones transfer over. Our Bioforce comes down the left-hand side. Again, Kindness playing is already on the way up. +2 melee and +3 carapace are coming in as well. And on the right side, a little bit of bio just going to start coming through for this hatchery. Hatchery is going to get killed off there, so that's a positive, at least, with denying a hatch. However, that bottom left gold being up for Dark is just going to be a big source of income. So that's going to be one thing that you can't really... I mean, that's so hard of a base, or difficult a base to deny as GuMiho, because it's just so far in that bottom left corner. It's pretty well defended. So that's the issue with this map. It definitely is, you know, the game gets to this stage, it becomes quite large. Like, you kind of see on GuMiho's side as well, like, even for Dark, pushing into GuMiho's base isn't going to be easy. GuMiho does drop over here, again, knowing that this is going to be an important base, and he needs to try and find some way to put some attention on this base. Can't just let that mine freely as, oh, that's not good. Well, that was actually disastrous. The medevacs got picked off by the Spore Crawler, so there's no evacuating. Well, there was a parasitic bomb on them anyways. There really was no evacuating, and that is GuMiho too adventurous. Punished once again. Dark doing very well for himself to shut that down. As our medevacs will unload now to the bottom left corner. I think it's going to run by this base up here before it's a planetary. One of the better things you could probably do, and if we can stop this fifth from coming online, then Dark is really going to have GuMiho on the ropes and just under very good control. I think Bane Ultra continues to chase after this bit of bio. Widowmine goes for a couple of Banelings. Now Zergling's still leading in. Corrosive Vials looking to get this base. Well, this could be a double whammy. You lose the top right, you lose the left side. 22 SCV is dead. Dark is absolutely taking a much more controlling position in this game. Number 2. He will lose his own gold, however, but he will now build a 5th hatchery in the front. This would have been bad for Dark had he not just done so much to set himself up into the next stage of this game anyways. I think that's going to be the real deal breaker, that Dark now has done enough to push himself forward as a few Marines continue to go after those eggs. Obviously, we'll not get much there. They get a couple units before they lift up against the rest of the units. Liberators are going to come around and get themselves sieged as well. Vipers, Lings, Banes, Ultras, all set up down to the south. Bio Force coming across. The few Lings are going to run forward. The Bio continue to retreat. Parasite bombs all over those medevacs. Taking a lot of damage. Another couple of Banes going down. Tank shot still firing. There's a lot of Banes getting picked away. And now on the left side, Wooden Mines power up. They're going to blow up at a couple of these Ultralisks. Can GuMiho find a defense here? Dark supply has been dropping. The defense from GuMiho has been adequate so far to give him a shot. Obviously, Dark has money to spend, and that's just the one thing he's not doing. If he spent it, things would maybe not look quite so close. As 3 Ultras continue out, that orbital is floated over here from the main base. I'm not sure where it's actually going to end up going. The main thing is that the attention is now on GuMiho's side of the map, and as attention takes place on GuMiho's side of the map, Dark's bases get up without a hitch. And every time that Dark establishes a base right now, that is a huge chunk of, resources that GuMiho at some point has to find a way to kill off. And that's just going to force this game later, and it's going to force it probably more so into Dark's favor the deeper we go into that sort of a situation, for sure. The mine's going to come through. We burrow up against a couple of those Lings. Bang, bang. A couple of Lings go down. The Ultra's still coming over here. And we'll go for the Widow Mines. Just going to pick that off as well. Nice little catch. Getting a couple of Liberators coming up with the Ghost as well. All of that being brought through as missile turrets also coming in. Another Widow Mine shot for a few cheeky Lings. Vane and +2 missiles all continuing to produce right now as we do see ourselves. The medevacs and ghosts continue from GuMiho. A lot of units from Dark over that far right hand side. Spore firing up, medevac taking some damage. It's a nice few snipes that he finds on the ghost. This is, I guess, what I kind of insinuated earlier, right? That even for Dark, it's going to be difficult to attack into the Terran. Like, this is a defendable map. There's a lot of narrow choke points leading into each and every one of these bases. It does take a little while for reinforcements, even for a fast Zerg army, to come across the map and to help out. This base is probably the most exposed, and not just in terms of location, but also just in terms of units there from the Terran. There is basically nothing there, so that just gets absolutely picked apart. +2 missiles, Lean Bane still coming up, +1 flyer attack coming in. Marines firing, a couple of Widow Mines going to be firing up. Ultra Ravagers coming through, working their way up this ramp. Ghost's going to be backing away. We do have the Ultra still coming forwards. Gonna knock a couple of those down. The Roaches and Ravagers and Banes coming in. Man, GuMiho is still making a decent defense of it. His supply was fairly competitive for the majority of this fight. He's just ran out of snipes to get rid of these last couple Ultras, although we are chasing with a few Marauders. Chasing down over there. These couple of snipes again going to go in after some Ultras. Some Roaches getting turned back around and chased away also. Well, wouldn't mind connection to pick off an Ultra there. Bioforce still coming down to the south. A few Lings going to get jumped on. These Balins will not last very long either. We'll continue to just pick our way through a lot of those Balins. Bio now gets straight through. Is going to go jump on top of the spine. Can we somehow clean up over here? I mean, this is basically just a case of Dark is just rebuilding, not great units right now. He needs a bit of time to morph in Balins, etc., or get the Ultras out. Yeah, and once a couple of Fungals land and Ultras are here, it's a very different story, as finally this is going to get pushed back without any further problems. Obviously, things looked a little bit scary for a little bit there. Playing Soldiers and Vipers all making their way up to the top. Bio is there to fight as well. A couple of Vipers taking some damage. The Ultra's going to turn back around. Infestor drops a Fungal onto a group of Marines. And Dark, at this point, does have enough to knock GuMiho down almost without a doubt. He's going to have plenty. GG says GuMiho, and Dark takes it for game number 2. It's... Alright, in the top left-hand side, it is going to be our blue Terran player. Obviously took the first map, was pretty competitive in map 2 as well, just couldn't quite do it. That is going to be GuMiho. And the bottom right, our red Zerg player is Dark. One sec, guys, just need to tab out a moment. I think FPS will just drop a little bit. Alright, sorry for that. As we get ourselves into game number 3. GuMiho again going to open with these 2 Racks and Reapers, so apparently that is back on the side of popularity. Color Reaper's coming up, Queens and Link Speed all coming through. We just have our Reaper coming down the first one to get going. So Reaper heads down the bottom right, the Link Speed coming up, and a couple of Queens and a couple of Lings continue to build. Reaper is going to get turned around. A few shots coming down, Lings get pushed over to the sides. Again, Reaper's on the way up, Link Speed coming out. Scan a hatchery and a couple more drones on the way through here. So Reapers will continue to nibble out a hatch for just a little bit longer, so some damage being dealt over on that right side. Hatchery continue to take some shots. A few Lings of Dark go up through the center of the map, so again, looking for that counterattack. He actually very nearly gets a Reaper kill, as it just sits there and takes some shots from the Lynx around for a few moments, so that's a little bit painful. That's a little bit frustrating. As you do see, the Lynx continue to back away. Reaper continues to chase, and the Reapers will continue to go onto the hatchery. This really does look as though, again, we're going to have ourselves perhaps a cancel. These Lings try and take a bit of attention away. Link Speed is so close to finishing. He's going to have to cancel it, and he will lose the drone as well. Dark unable to keep his hatchery alive against the first Reapers these games. As there's the Link Speed, though. This time, at least, the hatchery comes at the cost of all of the Reapers. So every Reaper will go down. Dark will clean this up. But he did lose a third hatchery. He is behind that. Oh, he's going to Banelin Bust. Okay, I love it because obviously as well, the add-ons are exposed on this side of the map again. GuMiho spawning top left is just not as good for Terran. Obviously, you could knock down the reactor and the depot to gain access to the base, or you could go Tech Lab and depot. I wonder which. I think you go reactor depot because Stim is unlikely to finish in the time it takes for this game to be decided. The reactor will decide just unit production, which will help with this incoming fight. So yeah, I think reactor and the depot is the target. He goes right side, and in we go. A couple of Hellions only to try and save the day right now as a single Balin tries to waddle up. A few Lings already on the natural mineral line. The Lings nearly grabbing the Hellions. That would be so important as the Balin here is going to do so much. SCVs are going to be very low following that. That's bad because now a lot of them get taken down so quickly to the from the Zerglings. Another Balin would be deadly as well here, and it is finding its way forward. There's no damage to really stop a Balin, so all you can really do is split the SCVs. That honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but GuMiho is still losing out on the low ground. Lings on top of the production. Another Balin will find a few more SCVs as well and keeping them running, stopping them from mining. There's now a few more Lings in this main base. These honestly couple of Hellions survived a long time, but not enough. Dark will get it done with the Ling Bane Bust. And Dark will take the lead in this series for the... In the bottom left-hand side, there's going to be our red Zerg player. Up 2-1 in the series, Dragon Kaiser's Dark. In the top right corner, our blue Terran player, GuMiho. That Baneburst is very scary against those barracks wall-offs. Now he gets set up. Overlord of Dark begins to move out. Sounds like Command Center is already going down from GuMiho. So CC first as the opening here on this map that has that natural pointing out to the center of the map. This third, which is obviously walled off by these minerals and these rocks. TVZ, because TVZ can go to 3 bases each and be kind of fine anyways. I think it's interesting because it's a very macro map for a Zerg, but then the Terrans gotta love that the Zerg is going to struggle to do much aggressively themselves. The Zerg will have the option of mutas if they want to spice it up a little bit and do things a little bit differently. So there are options. There are different options for sure in terms of how all that could go down as our command center builds up. We'll be finishing shortly. A couple hatcheries in the spawning pool all coming out. On the side of Dark, so getting that up as well. As the Overlord, of course, just venturing over. Obviously, Dark will see soon that it's CC first timing, most likely. Depends. He's actually not flying straight to see the command center. Now he turns a little bit with that Overlord, so just putting it so I can actually get to high ground without too much issue. Obviously, doesn't want to take any damage off of like an early Marine. If one Marine gets that, too much damage on the Overlord before it gets to high ground, it's less of a commitment to lift up a barracks for high ground vision to then bring it over and finish the Overlord off. So it's usually something we look at as a couple of lings do move forward. Queen's still coming out, drones as well. The hatchery is about to finish. A couple SCVs in the factory continuing up also. A reactor on the way. And the Reaper GuMiho works around the right hand side. A Zergling making its way towards the natural. Reaper just going to patrol. The factory will finish. Can lift off and go to the reactor perhaps. Reaper still just moving back and forth a little. For a few moments here. Our starport will be on the way. Again, a couple of Hellions, the Marine all coming through. Our refinery's on the way out. Queen's and our drones in production. Pretty peaceful opening. We do not expect it to be too wild, although the fact we're already going 4 gases without a third CC on a map where the third base is such a freebie, well, that is interesting. GuMiho, what are we doing off this starport? A Viking? Maybe some kind of a Hellbat attack. If the Viking to clean out an Overlord or 2, then the Hellbats and the Fusion Core. Okay, that makes sense as well. Some battle cruisers. I was thinking some kind of Hellbat attack, but I was about to go into a spiel about how I don't really love it because, well, it's difficult to attack in on this map. It's very well defendable, and all of this and that. And then he drops down the Fusion Core and it all adds up. You kind of forget that battlecruiser builds are a thing sometimes, especially when it comes to openings. Some people do them a lot. GuMiho is one of the guys that probably utilizes this more than anybody else. And he's going to try and utilize it here. As we do have this Viking popping out and going for this Overlord. Not much this Overlord can do. It can turn and try and get forwards. But right now, obviously, Dark is very much so in the dark. And it's also a second starport, so it's double port BC. So twice as many battlecruisers, twice as much BC goodness going to be coming our way in these next few moments. Hellions just picked off an additional ling. As we do start the weapon refit. That's for the Yamato, of course. Now Battlecruiser 1 will begin. And we just await Battlecruiser 2. We're going to have the money for it very soon. We start to mine the minerals here so we can potentially put the CC down. Obviously, Dark will have the Overlord on the top side that scouts that the CC isn't already there, so you should be a little bit like, Because a Terran can build a CC next to those minerals and then just use the CC as it morphs into an orbital to mine the minerals out quickly. without having to run SCVs back to the natural from the third location. It does go down now, but like I say, it's just a little bit later than it would be if it was just a typical fast 3cc, so Doc should wonder a bit about what's going on. Flare about to be done. Again, the Roach is producing through. This couple of VCs just continue now. A couple of Hellions coming in as well. The melee upgrade's on the way. Roach speed is coming out. The Hellions going to knock through a couple of creep tumors right away here, so a few of these creep tumors already going down. Hellions and the Reaper coming through to knock down a couple more creep tumors on top of that, so again, some good damage dealt. A couple of creep tumors placed again. Roaches of Dark will come out the front, and that Reaper Hellion force will be pushed away. As our first two BCs, a teleport across the map. Infestation Pit. Doc didn't know this was coming, otherwise he would have preemptively been building a Spire. Puts the Spire down now immediately. Extra Spore going to try and relocate over here is... What's that Queen count looking like? 7, so that's not bad. You can see the BCs. Oh, this is nasty. It's actually really easy for the BCs to go across to this space, but it's much more difficult for the Queens to come across and to deal with this, so even the Viking landing going to go for a couple of the drones. And this is the... Infestation Pit that's going to get cancelled there. Not sure that's too big of a deal. And I guess it stops you getting a hive, but as the Spire came down, I don't think Doc is going to really use the Infestation Pit anyway. I mean, this is the frustration. Look how many spores Doc has. He realizes just how frustrating this position is going to be. He realizes how annoying GuMiho can get, and he knows that probably just going to have to stand here and kind of, you know, throw down some extra spores to make sure his main base isn't in as much trouble as it might end up being. Roach is on the other side, but the first Cyclones are here to help out, although one of them gets targeted fairly quickly. The Hellions are doing a good job of holding the wall. They are the wall, basically, as new BCs now pop. We have got one BC that has gone down on the other side, though, so we've lost a battle cruiser as GuMiho, but the next two BCs are going to teleport straight across. Now, the Spire's nearly done. Dark has money to build Corruptors, so these BCs will not be able to teleport away from Corruptor Fire. They are pretty much going to have to give up their lives. Yamato will be on cooldown. The BC that was hurt in the corner at least can teleport home for a repair. So that is at least one little bit of good news, as these Queens still coming through. The BCs are still having to back it up. Getting the hell away from that for the moment. 5 drones going down. Our BC is still getting chased away to the sides. A couple of BCs coming up. Factories, Hellions, everything being brought in as the Corruptors continue to chase. The battlecruiser is gone. So there goes our BC. The Corruptors really will just chase, kill off a battlecruiser, clean that up for the moment. That's the issue. 3 BCs down is extremely expensive. One of the big traits of a battlecruiser that's meant to be so good is that they don't die. They have the ability to escape away. They have the chance to never have to give themselves up. Obviously, in this situation, that's not quite happened, so not exactly ideal by any stretch of the imagination. And as now Corruptor's going to come in, going to start hitting this orbital command, and I'm going to say that we're going to have a bad time here as GuMiho, because I feel like Dark is going to start having so much control again. If he was held back a little bit by the BCs or so, then I'd feel a lot better, but I just don't think that's going to end up being the case. As our Roaches settle back down to the south. +2 melee, overlord speed, +1 missiles, and the burrow all continuing up. Link speed coming in, +1 flyer attack. Hostiles 4 bases right now from GuMiho, so he has at least established himself a good economy setup. Of course, the problem is now I just don't know what he does to really slow Dark down from just getting the entire side of his map. Obviously, the mech can somewhat be aggressive with the Cyclones and so at times, but yeah, straight away here, not quite sure what the plan would turn out to be. We'll drop a load, just finish morphing in, some Link Ravager coming up, 2 melee upgrades, +1 missiles, and Burrow all building through still. Our BC's back around the top side of the map. And now this Ling Roach Ravager Corruptor sets up over to the right side. One barrack's going to go to the top left, try and land there before the drone builds the hatchery. Who's faster? Ah! Obviously, the barracks can't land if the drone's there, so as long as the drone moved into position, even if the hatchery wasn't quite started, it would have been fine. And that is more or less what takes place. And as we do see Dark actually going to launch a first attack over here. Purple Corrosive Bars start knocking through some of the siege tanks, start to weaken up these defensive setups. So Dropper Lord sets a few roaches into this third base, so we will lose a few SCVs there as GuMiho. Bring the battlecruisers back around the left side of the map. As the battlecruisers come around the left side, we're going to knock down a queen. We're going to launch some Yamatos. Bang, bang, bang. And that's going to be a hatchery taking a lot of damage very quickly. Corruptor's still coming over. The battlecruisers teleport away. We do have Hurricane Thrusters on the way to make those Cyclones go a little bit speedier. Live Infestors, Neural Parasite coming out. +2 Carapace on the way up. We'll have ourselves the Isaac Auto Tracking on the way. Great Aspire beginning. Obviously, like I said, Dark is really going to have freedom to do as he wishes. There's not going to be a lot to stop Dark here for the foreseeable future. These Cyclones will come across the map, though. GuMiho will make an effort to try and at least have some amount of say on what Dark is up to, and at least try and trade a little bit. I mean, he's maxed out. You don't want to let Dark just kind of do whatever he wants the entire time, so obviously it is good to get active here. And he's going to go pick off the gold base, so stops Dark from just taking everything that's on the map. This is what we need, a little bit of contest from GuMiho. Can Zombie be good enough? Obviously, we're still not quite fully set up as Dark. He's still making the Great Spy. He's getting Neural Parasite. I don't think he needs those things to win this fight, but he would need something that, you know, for example, Vipers are usually out by now. He has not gone Vipers, clearly not feeling the need to, but maybe that's going to be a little bit of his downfall right now as GuMiho's tank line is holding very strong, and Dark is not making very much progress against that. A lot more links coming up from Dark. GuMiho's going to step a bit further forward. Dark has a little bit of this creep spread to create a buff for a safety for himself. Hellbat's coming through. A lot of Zerglings going down. Our Ravagers coming up. Things will run in. Hellbat's in trouble. Corrosive Vials are just going to miss the siege tank there. Hellbat's still pushing forward. Battlecruisers will go to the top left-hand side. They will take out that hatchery. I've just grabbed one Hellbat, now going for the couple of Cyclones. The Broodlords are going to finish. They will move forward. BCs are going to teleport away. Broods will press through. It's going to be seeing these tanks taking a lot of damage. Lings will continue to swarm across the map as they will catch a lot of these Cyclones, a lot of these tanks. This is where Dark is finally going to see a little bit more success after having a little bit of a slow start pushing this back. He is going to push it back now. GuMiho will start a rebuild into the Thors, but we do already have the Neural Parasites to grab some of those Thors as well. It's actually a pretty big deal, I think, because Infestors might have been looking for a Fungal there to lock the Cyclones down as well, and burrowed to look for it in the end, but obviously the Cyclones had already backed off by then, so it didn't make too much of a difference. Slater going to hit a few Corruptors. The Broodlords will come forward. A couple of Vikings coming in. They're just going to get fungled straight into these Corruptors. Not sure what they were trying to do, but maybe just misrallied, but still rallying them in. So yeah, it's a little bit of an oddity as, I guess here the Thors obviously cannot be neuraled, so that's not a bad fight. But obviously Dark can get away too, so it's not a bad position for either of them. GuMiho can hold his own. Dark can back away with ease. Turn back around this right side. Fungal lands. These few Cyclones going to get caught. Lings running straight through. The Thors, the Cyclones, the tanks coming across. The Infestor getting caught as well. Going to drop a couple new Fungals back onto them Cyclones. The BCs and the Thors will continue to push through. Broodlords firing up. A couple of shots here. Bang, bang from the Battlecruisers. Going to land on a couple of those broods as well, so Yamato is at least able to give some value back to GuMiho. More Thor's coming out. Again, our Hellions coming through 3 upgrades. GuMiho still powering himself up right now as an SCV gets taken out. Our command center cancels in the corner. And our Lings actually going to burrow over here. I like that. Just a cute little play just to keep them there for a bit. And at the very least, you're going to force another scan. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's units on either side of them, so force another scan, you get a few away maybe. It's a distraction too. It's a lot of army down this bottom right. Lings are killing off these rocks. Not sure what the idea is there. Maybe so the Broodlords can get closer with the support on the ground being able to get closer too. Obviously the Broodlords don't need the rocks to be down, but the support units do. If you want to like keep the Infestors like right underneath them, for example. That's maybe not a bad part of the idea, I guess. Let's pull back down the bottom, just seeing ourselves the Hatchery already taking some shots, +3 missiles, paint displaying, and the +3 flyer attacks on the way as the BCs going to teleport home to deal with this Ling drop. Big Ling drop at that, and a lot of SCVs will begin to go down. Dark just slowly working his way through these bases of GuMiho, little by little, just finding ways to kind of chip at him. I mean, this is more than a chip. That's 24 SCVs going down. GuMiho replaces all of those workers with army units, Hellions and Thors in production, although we're going to lose +3 plating. So actually upgrades are going down, and Adrenal Gland Lings go brrrr. They do the Void Ray noise actually. It's a little bit quiet, but it is there. They absolutely machine gun through those armories, and they don't quite get the +3 attack cancel, but the plating is a nice little something. Upgrade denied. And that's just on top of the workers that were killed there as well, as Dark. I will say, creep spread not brilliant on the bottom or top of the map. He's got a little bit of creep spread kind of leeching into the middle. These are just on burrow, and they're going to find themselves a bunch of depots, a bunch of SCVs, structures. I mean, just in general, again, not a bad play at all from Dark, making the absolute most of these situations, and that's what Dark is so good at. Getting every little inch out of these units. As now that armory is on fire again, +3 vehicle weapons finishes at least. We are going to start more air upgrades as GuMiho, as he does build 4 battle cruisers. This should, obviously from Dark, he's going to need to build more air units himself as a response to this, but first he would need to know that this is actually happening, which I don't believe he's been able to see yet. So, yeah, that's something he'll have to respond to on the fly. He does have a good bank to respond, but he might have to take the first fight in a less than ideal composition based on what he's playing against. And again, I'm just not sure there's too much that can really be done about that. As the Hellions continue up, our Nidus network will be denied. That will go down, the Hellbat firing up a little bit further. Yo, thank you so much, Maddie76, 20-month resub on the Prime that came after Zergberger. Go Wardy, thanks for the content on the 14-month resub. And then Random FF, thank you so much for the fresh new Prime sub. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for supporting today. You guys have been amazing the last few days. The subs have been popping off. We're actually back above 900 subs. Oh, Yamato in the BCs and teleporting them into Corruptors. That is a play. This other BC is just kind of chilling here. They obviously use the teleports to make sure they can't retreat away. The Infestors will just keep on neuraling, and yep, that is very cute, guys. One more Yamato. Nice catch from Dog. That's one way to shut down the battlecruiser account. That is one massive way to shut down the battlecruiser account, actually. That is a big deal. As this Viking gets back onto a few more drones. So drones continuing to drop. We have ourselves the Hellions and Thors back up to the top side. SCVs are going to come drilling in. Hellions will go after a whole bunch of those creep tumors, and that's going to be 7 drones going down. Hellions back away through the center. Infestors are still going to sit there. Hellions will come down. Just going to be seeing our drones getting lasered by these Hellions as well. So quite a bit of damage coming onto those. Torch, Ravager, and Broods continue through. Again, Baneling Nest coming up, our Hatchery going down, 4 battle cruisers continue up, our Hellions all on the way. And again, that +3 vehicle plating continuing out also. So continue to bring this all up. Hellions are going to run up into that top side, looking to get that base. Infestors are going to pop up, drop a fungal growth down. These Neurals have been kind of ridiculous. I think we're getting to the point where GuMiho's units in the last 3 or 4 minutes have killed more of their own units than they have Zerg units. Neural Parasites have been extremely good so far. There's a couple of BCs come through. These Lings again annoying, just constantly here. You know, we've been watching basically GuMiho's side of the map exclusively because each and every time Dark is over there making plays, making stuff happen, and all the rest of it. So it's been interesting. Interesting for sure. Ravager comes up, and obviously GuMiho's army is still very threatening, but Dark has put himself in a fantastic spot where he definitely doesn't need to take this down all at once. He does lose 2 Infestors here, misses most of the Corrosive Vials on the Fungal Thors. That's a shame. But he's put himself in a position where he doesn't need to do it all at once. He's got 8k, 10k in the bank, so he's got money for days. He's got a lot of the map of his own, and again, it's been a struggle for GuMiho having to replay static defense and just, you know, a lot of stuff in the natural. We're long-distance mining with drones over here, by the way, so we're slowly working through these mineral walls, so we will have more easy access to the bases of GuMiho. There's a few Broodlords go down. My biggest question mark right now is with 1 Infestor and 3 Corruptors on the map, what are we actually going to do about these battle cruisers? There's one thing about having to take a couple rounds of units to actually knock down the BCs. There's another thing about just not having any units that can fight the BCs. And has Dark let that slip away maybe a little bit too far even? I think he might have done, honestly. And Infestor did just get nuked down there. Now the BCs make their way to the top. This Ultra will not stand much of a chance. The army of GuMiho is powerful, and that's what he's going to be committed to right now. This army looking to see if it can, maybe, still win this game for himself. He will not have a lot of rebuilds. And Dark is the master of kind of working himself out of weird situations. Corruptors that are spawning are just wandering everywhere, though, and that's not great. We are slowly at least getting rid of the Thor count, so the ground support is going to be disappearing. It's mostly going to be the battle cruisers that are the big issue right now. With those BCs flying in for a couple of queens, and we have a lot of Corruptors building up. I assume eventually we just get enough Corruptors, because again, Dark had a lot of money to rebuild with. By denying the bottom right base, Dark is also saying, GuMiho, you do not have money to rebuild yourself, so all you got to do is get 28 Corruptors out of production, keep them alive, and get them to all fight at the same time, and that would probably do it. We do have a single Infestor as well. I'm not sure if you want to lock down with a Fungal. I mean, obviously, a few Infestors would have been nice with some Neurals still, as these Corruptors started back away, now turning back into this. We do get a couple of BCs already. Another Yamato will drop down. We will teleport away, saving the BCs, but the Corruptor count is now up and running. And now the BCs will not have a teleport. And you know where they are, because the Roach Ravager just saw where they teleported to, so the Corruptors can go hunting if they want. Dark could go after these BCs. Barrier Spire was knocked down. That was actually the only Spire in the game. So Dark only has 33 Corruptors at the moment. Cannot build more until he gets a new Spire up, but that will happen long before I think it's an issue for him. GuMiho is out of minerals. He's only got money that he's currently mining, so he's relying on his current income, which ain't bad. It's actually even with dogs. It's not bad, but it's obviously not brilliant with only 29 SCVs. The mules will prop that up in a big way. As Dark maintains some of these, or retakes some of these bases that were knocked down by that previous battlecruiser slow flyby. Seeing those reset then, the Roach Ravager Ultra coming across, chasing those Hellions down. The Hellions morph into Hellbats, and a Thor comes through there to go after the Roach Ravager as well. Still got our BCs up in the skies. Yamato's dropped down. Fungal Growth's going to land all over those BCs. Corruptors are going to take a big fight. The Ravager Battles were actually very good as well, just knocking some of the HP off the battlecruisers. GuMiho's supply will plummet to 100 and below as these Corruptors are still chasing. New Greater Spire on the way as the BCs do get a teleport away. They're going to teleport topside, but I actually think they're going to get chased down over there. The Corruptors know where they got to go, and now there's going to be no teleporting away, so these BCs are probably going to have to face the music, because, yep, these Corruptors even splitting apart because the BCs went a couple different directions. These three might make it back home. You have a couple top left. should get hunted down. Caustic Spray on that command center will force it to lift and back away. No gold base for you, GuMiho. The CC does die. And the Corruptor's chasing around. The Roach is cleaning up a Thor. 26 minutes on Rider set, but it looks as though it's enough to give Dark probably a victory 3-1 in this series. Looking like it's enough. GG's, Dark 3, GuMiho 1. And that is going to be that all wrapped up and ready to roll for Dark in the quarterfinals tomorrow. He'll be playing against QA.